Hi there, this is Anthony from Maestro Music Centers out in East Meadow, Long Island, and I'm here today at the Roland AT900C, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about using quick registrations and how you can make them flow better from one to another and use them either with rhythm styles or save them in a particular order into your registration buttons that are inside of the instrument. For many of you, you've known and used these quick registrations because, if you don't really know what you're doing when you're pressing sound buttons, and I know my own students sometimes don't know what to do, it's really nice to go in and have, let's say, Hector Oliveira make the sound up for you, or Rosemary Bailey. Well, that's exactly what they did in the quick registration buttons. You have the luxury of the artist living inside with the thought process that went into making registrations, and they're stunning. If you've never used the quick registrations, well, on the main screen of the next generation models, which this is a 900C, is a round circle, and you touch quick registrations. On some of the other models, you would go in and touch the registration button, and then you would find the quick registration there. Usually has a book open to give you an idea that it's something written to go with music. This has a book in the keyboard. So when I touch it, if you've gone in and haven't been using the organ for the first time, it will come into the category of classical. It may not be what you want. You may want something else, but here it's classical. There's some really beautiful things in here, from pipe organs to beautiful choir sounds. That soprano, everyone always loves the soprano. She's in there, classical choirs are there, some really beautiful string orchestras. Big orchestras and brass ensembles, cellos. Alright? But I'm going to go to a different category, because I want the category of movie and show. I actually am going to play classical music for you today, a little Beethoven, but we're going to go and touch the word classical, the red line, and then on the screen comes all the other categories of registrations that are available for me. And on one of the options is movie and show. I use it a lot. I use jazz and big band, European. There's some really great stuff in the European and UK that is great for contemporary music, including a really, really wonderful piano preset called Piano Ballad. It even has a sustain built in, so really very simple to use. But the way that these work, the registrations load sound for the pedal, the lower manual, and the upper manual. You may not play pedals, you may not even want sound on the lower manual, but that's how it's been produced. So if you want to use them and you play all parts, great. As you touch them, they're going to give you different options. If you do not play pedals, then you don't want any of those sounds, so it doesn't matter. How do you stop it? Because every time I use press a button, it's gonna pick a bass sound. And of course, if you're using any of these with a rhythm style, and you don't play pedals, and the pedal sounds are turned on, you're not going to get the automated pedal. So I don't know how many of you have ever used them, or if you have used them, maybe you tried them and thought, oh, it doesn't work for the way I play. But on the very bottom of the screen, next to the exit button, there are 3 colored buttons. They remind me of Italian rainbow cookies. All right, a green button that says pedal, an orange button that says lower, and a red button that says upper. And what those buttons do is, once you determine what you want, let's say I do not want any sound on the left hand. All right, so let's go to the first preset I want, right? And there, it has piano and string in the left hand, and a pedal sound. If I don't want that, I would turn off all the sounds, silent, silent. And now if I touch the pedal and the lower buttons, that will now lock that, basically. Lock the pedal and the lower the way it is right now, so I can go and go through the other presets. So if I have a rhythm style on, here's what you can hear, the automated bass, right? So there, now I've just set it up for someone who doesn't want to play any of the left hand, and they want to use a rhythm style. If you turn them back on, pedal and lower, and touch a button, everything turns back on again. Okay? And if you just want to play with the easy one finger, great. Alright, you get the idea? So you can totally do that. The one thing I don't like about the easy one finger, and I forget every time I press it, is it turns on easy touch, which means there's no touch sensitivity, and I like the touch sensitivity because it lightens up the sound. It's on primarily for beginner players who have very light touch and need maximum volume to come out. When they press a key, maybe their fingers are not really strong. But if you've been playing a while, you may not need that function. Remember, you could just turn it off on these larger models right here from the main panel. If you're on a smaller model, you go into your utility and you'll see easy touch and just turn it off. Now what if I want to use all of that and I want to play the song and I want everything to change, right? Well, if I do that, I have to be aware to let go of the pedal and the left hand when I change my registration, because if I don't do that, then I'll hear kind of a jarring change. So I can, start with one. Now let's say I wanted to use some of those presets, but I'd also like a preset from another category. Ooh, I have to press a lot to get them. So how do I arrange them for myself? Well, the first thing that I have to think of, if I don't want all of that stuff to change, let's say I do want to play pedal in left hand, or I want to use what's there, I want that piano to remain, then again I would turn off the pedal and lower. The left hand's remaining. So I can do that if I want to. The other thing that I can do, I'm going to leave them on for a minute, I can arrange them in a particular order, however I want. So let's say I want the memories as preset 1, my first registration. I'm going to turn it on, I hold the red right button in between the two keyboards, and I press button number 1. And now I've locked it into button 1. Then I would like to go to romantic mood. I want that as my second sound. Great. I'm going to write that and lock that in button 2. And then I want charming. I'm going to go with that and write that in 3. And I want one more. But I want it from the classical category. So I touch movie and show, change back to the category classical, and I'm going to do classical. Which one do I want? Let's do classical choir, a little brighter. Okay? And I'm going to lock that and I turn it on into button 4. Now I've made these where the left hand and the pedal will change, so I'm going to be very careful about how I play. Again, if I didn't want that, turn off the pedal, turn off the lower once you have the left hand the way you want it. Now, the only other thing I want to do is I want to not have to let go and press the buttons between the keyboard, because that's not comfortable. I'd want to do it with the kick switch that's attached to the expression pedal. So if I go to the sound button on the main screen, sound and keyboard, and touch it, on the bottom of the screen, there is a button that says controller. Touch that. And the third option on the first page is registration shift. So touch the box that's next to it. It usually says off. And then use the plus and minus button, plus, so that it says the word right. And I'm going to kick the right foot switch every time I want my registrations to change. All right? So I start myself on button number 1. That's how I want to start to play. And I start to play. Every time you hear a sound change, I'm not going to press the button. I'm going to kick the foot switch. Okay? them and put them into any particular order that you'd like. You can stop certain parts from changing. You may only want the left hand. Maybe you wanted that piano part to change, and you wanted the top to remain the strings. So it would go from piano to French horn. But you know, you have to know what's going to make it exciting for you to play and how you want to use your instrument. There's so many different ways that you can use what you have. If you're in a smaller model, any of the AT 75, 100, or 300 models that do not have any of the quick registrations, all that means is that you need to have your USB, and you make sounds up on your USB stick, and then you can load in what you'd like into the instrument, and you can arrange them in a particular order just as well. So you don't necessarily, you know, have to work with the quick registrations, but if you really want them, well, then get a model that has that option, because that's one of the things that you pay for when you're in a larger model. I hope that that made some sense for you and that you'll get a little bit of enjoyment out of them. They're such incredible instruments and beautiful to play on. Great sound, great touch. I don't only sell them, I also own one. So just like you, I enjoy my hobby as much. And thanks for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day. Bye.